Well, good morning. Beginning our second week of sheltering in place, stay at home, quarantine, whatever you want to call it, week number 2. And I am both getting used to it, could say enjoying it, and also feeling the heaviness of it, the implications of it as numbers go up, as testing seems to be not an option for almost everyone. Still so many unknowns. And so we practice abiding, we practice patience, we practice compassion, we practice being in the not knowing. And there's a way we can embody that. Hi, Deb. There's a way we can embody that not knowing with our breath. So landing in the pauses between inhale and exhale, where there's no movement, where there's no thing. So we're going to start with some pranayama this morning. We're going to work with the neck and shoulders by request. There's a lot of those requests. Some, good morning. People are coming on in. And we'll do some somatic work, and we'll probably build to some inversions. So depending on where you were at in your practice, Erin, hello, Joni, hello. Susan, hello. Depending on where you're at in your practice, you know, I can't see you. You're welcome to do your own thing. Megan, hello, everybody. And so for this morning, I'd like you to have a blanket, a couple blocks, a bolster for real this time. I said to have a bolster for last time, and we didn't use it, but we will use it. So if you do not have a bolster, your blocks with a blanket over it can work, or a big pillow from your couch, or several blankets. And I've got my mat positioned at the wall. Probably will use the wall for some, Heather, for some inversions. So take the time now to relocate yourself or to get some stuff. And we'll get started here in just a minute or two. So if you need to reorganize where you are in the house or gather up more supports, now's the time. And so I would like to start with the whole spine on the bolster. We're going to use our belt, and some of you will, depending on how long your prop is, how long your support is, you may need to make it longer by putting a block at the end. And since we're going to have our whole spine on the bolster, so bum won't be on the floor, bum's going to be on the bolster, you might want to use your other block and blanket for the back of your knees. So here's the setup. I don't need support for the back of my knees, so I'm going to make it less than. Lose the block, actually, and maybe do this. How about this? With your blanket folded in a big rectangle, make a simple roll or a trifold. So you can have a little support behind the knees with this off ramp from your pelvis being on the bolster to your feet being on the floor. Simple loop with your belt. I'm catching my outer feet. So I've got the belt just around my feet like so to keep my legs from rolling open. I don't like to hang out for too long a period of time with my legs just rolled open. It's not good for my hips. If you like it, then don't belt your feet. So this little incline, head's a little bit higher than everything. Got the block on the second side. If you have a really fat bolster and your block is lower than your bolster, I recommend putting either a folded blanket or a towel on the bolster. And then arms simply out to the, let me walk that back. Let's take our arms at first and drape them on the chest. Simply cross my forearms, and my arms are a little bit sort of in front of my chin here, but I can totally relax my arms. So maybe just take a quick peek here. See how my elbows are sort of loaded up on my chest. And the idea is that the weight of the arms goes straight back into the bolster. Shoulders fall straight back into the bolster. So I piled my arms up on my chest in the interest of dropping my shoulders back. And let's just start here and find the breath. What does your breath have to say to you this morning? Is it really free? Is it available? Is it hiding? Is it hard to find? Simply connect. And as you connect, don't have to do anything special with it just yet. We will put our arms in a few different positions, so if this doesn't feel right to you and you want to try to endure, because we certainly are in a time of enduring, then you can hang out with this sort of odd, maybe uncomfortable, unfamiliar position, or make a different shape. It's fine. But as you find your breath without manipulating it, just say good morning to it, say thank you to it, and I invite you to put more of your awareness in the back body, back ribs, back lungs specifically. And as you put your awareness there, let that part of your body, back of your lungs, back of your thoracic spine, let the blood collect there, like the awareness into those cells calls your blood, and your blood then calls the breath. So the way you might pour a liquid into a bowl, and the liquid spreads out, let your breath, pour your breath straight back behind the heart, into the back of the lungs, and let the breath spread into the back body first. Simply lengthening inhales and exhales with the intention of back body, back ribs, back lungs receiving the breath. So long, soft, smooth in and out breath. Just that much. When I started those long, smooth breaths, they were a little jaggy. They were a little rugged, a little jagged. Probably because I'm having to talk at the same time. But so if that's your experience, if there's any rough edges, stay simply with this, just smoothing out, softening, spreading, easing the breath in and out. And I recommend adding, if it's smooth, if it's easy, add a pause at the top when you're full. And in that pause, use your breath muscles to push the energy of the breath down a little bit towards the base of the lungs, out of the upper lungs. And add a pause at the bottom when you're empty. And in that pause at the bottom, holding the out breath and relaxing the muscles. When you're full at the top, hold, push the energy down a little. Follow the exhale to empty. And hold at the bottom. Relax there. One more just like that. And when you get to the bottom of that exhale, pause, hold, relax. Next inhale, take your two arms straight to ceiling. Breathe normally and try to touch ceiling so you feel the shoulder blades wrap around side ribs to ceiling. They call that protraction. And then relax that and let the heads of the arm bones, shoulder heads, slide back into the bolster. Let's call that retraction. And so repeat that, like touch the ceiling and then let the arm bones sink back towards the floor behind you. And can you relate to the shoulder blades? So I'm talking about the arms moving, but feel for the shoulder blades sliding up and around the side ribs and then around and back behind the ribs. So feel into and notice that your shoulder blades can move. Now cross the arms. I don't care which one's on top. Inhale, reach the right arm over to the left, just till it starts to roll you a little bit. And then exhale, left arm reaches across to the right. And then inhale, right arm again, over to the left. And exhale, left arm over to the right. And I'm inviting my head to resist the roll. So the ribs, inhale, reach right, arm over to the left. The ribs are rocking right and left, but the head and neck are staying pretty stable. So I'm getting some rotation in the head and neck. And then eventually put the other arm on top and switch. You're going to exhale the right arm across over to the left and then inhale, reaching the left arm. The first class I taught a week ago, or less than a week ago, I invited you to exhale through pursed lips. So try that here. Like you're blowing a brass instrument, a trumpet or a trombone. Do that a couple more times. You're really slows down the inhale and really dilates the alveoli, little air sacs. And then once again, both arms to sky. Make that arms in an O shape. So like the index, the middle fingers, your longest fingers are barely touching and your arms are in a big O. Start to open up the arms. Keep the elbows soft. They're reaching long, but they're not locked out. So the elbows are a little bit bent, but not really bent, right? And then as the arms go wide, reach, 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 reach. So you feel the shoulder blades widening across the back. And then the place where the arm bones meet the shoulder blades, let that start to fall back with the curve of the bolster. So you could think of like poking or aiming your elbows to the floor. So I want the chest to cascade downward with the arms, So ideally maybe elbows touch the floor before the forearms, before the wrist, before the hands. So if elbows can get to the floor before the arms, then that is a clue to me that the shoulder blades are also widening, shoulder joint also opening. Versus if you just let the arms fall and the shoulders get pushed up to the ceiling. Like this shape. Don't land in this shape. I'd like you to be more in this shape, if you can see. Arms could be a little lower, like hands down towards hips or feet. But eventually the forearms and the wrists and the hands land. And if they don't land, then put something under them, like pillows or folded blankets. And then now inviting more of the breath to take up more of the ribs. So first breath work was about back ribs, back lungs. Now let's build on that, and starting with a feeling of pouring breath into the back, grow that sense of breath up towards the sternum and collarbones. And I'd like to do Viloma 1, which means take the breath in phases. So first phase, inhale, fill back of lungs from shoulder blades to kidneys, and then maybe take a little pause there and hold the breath for a moment, ideally with your diaphragm, not with your throat, and then bring in some more breath, drinking it in slowly. Maybe add a little pause, holding breath with diaphragm, not with throat, not with tongue. And you might be maxed out and you have to exhale here, otherwise another sip in. And once you feel full, again holding at the top for a moment, and then a slow, sweeping, complete exhalation, like it's water sliding down the body, out your legs, the way an ocean wave recedes from shore. And begin again when you're ready. So inhale with pauses. Inhale from back to front with pauses. And then the exhale, like ocean waves sliding away from shore, pour the breath down, out your feet. Let's say 5 of these. Maybe you've done 1 or 2 already. I'll do 3. So that was me doing 1, and I'm going to say a few more things while you're in there doing it. If it's shaky, if it's edgy, you could certainly let it go and just breathe and relax. Or you could try to meet that shakiness Right? There's a whole lot about what's going on in the world right now that feels shaky and edgy, and we're in it. Right? So practicing our capacity to endure in the face of adversity when it's relatively easy, like just this breath. I'm going to do one more. Viloma 1. Inhale with pauses. Long sweeping exhales. If you're content to do so, untuck your feet from the belt. Bend your knees. Pause, knock your knees together. No thing here, no breath manipulation. Just feeling the effects of the choices you made. There's no safer, easier way than right here on the mat. It's like, I just did some stuff. What the heck did that do to me? And find a way to gently, easily roll off your bolster. And set the blanket aside. Or if you're using blankets as a bolster, keep the bolster. And we're going to come to lay on, let's say, our left side. And I want you to lay your left rib cage on the bolster. So depending on how high your bolster is, you might need to either build it up or put something under your hips. I'd like your hips on the floor. And then the left arm you're going to use as a pillow. If your left shoulder lets you. If your left shoulder doesn't let you, then thread your left arm in front of you and put a blanket under your pillow. Under your head. Put a pillow under your head. A blanket as a pillow under your head. There's also this option, which I'm doing here, is I have thread my left arm forward and I'm letting my head, neck just drape. Feels good to me, right? I might keep it. I might also go to head support, but for now I'm going to start here with some lengthening in the right side neck, and then take your right side arm and reach it towards your own feet. My knees are casually bent. I'm just hanging out over a bolster, right ribs elevated, right ribs spread. So we're going to bring some shoulder movements, neck and shoulder releasing movements into breath. So starting with right arm long, 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 long by your side. Put your brain in your right thumb tip and grow that right thumb tip longer than the other fingers. So if you see my hand, it's like thumb side of the arm lengthening. And then reach that arm behind you, shoulder extension, like you're sliding your arm across a table that's behind you. Let the thumb lead the way. And then slip the breath under that right collarbone. In the front of the right armpit. All the way down the right side ribs. And then eventually sweeping that right arm in the direction it came from. So sweeping it alongside your body and then forward in front of you. Again, like you're sliding your arm on a tabletop. And when that arm is forward in front of you, pause. Pause, pause, pause. Reach it further forward and exhale your heart back like a cat pose. Micro cat in the spine. And then with an inhale, now pinky is the longest finger. And reach that arm overhead. I need to scooch down on my mat. Reach that right arm all the way overhead. or as far as your shoulder lets you. Might even be able to touch those fingers to the floor overhead, but let your shoulder be in charge of this. 1 or 2 more breaths here, and I'm trying to send the breath all the way down the side ribs to the floaters, way down there. So a big reach from fingertips to floater ribs. And then as if you're grabbing with that right hand like a lat pull down bar, or like you're doing a pull up. Pull that right arm down, elbow bends, like you could dive your elbow into your side waist, and then straighten the arm, and we're back to where we started. Thumb side longer. Inhale some breaths, slice the arm behind you like it's sliding back across a table. Couple of breaths. You can roll your face more towards the floor, away from the arm, and then sliding the arm long against the side of the body, reaching towards your feet. Now the pinky tip is the longest finger. Reach it way out in front of you. Pause there, micro cat pose your spine. So exhale the heart backwards. As you inhale the arm forwards, and then pinky leading the way, reach it, slide it across the tabletop, all the way overhead. Sound effects are optional. Lat pull down bar. Squeeze elbow, maybe not only to your waist, but behind you a little bit, and then straighten the elbow. So let's do it one more time. And the shoulder blade itself, like right now as the arm is behind you, the shoulder blade is retracting, and probably depressing a little bit and downwardly rotating. So I'm talking about the actions of the shoulder blade, the anatomical, physiological actions. And then as you slide the arm along the side of your body, it's starting to go towards neutral, eventually protracting. It's still depressing. The shoulder blade is depressing. The things we're doing are not depressing, in my opinion. The arm goes forward. Now protract that shoulder blade. Soften the heart back. And then as the arm sweeps overhead, not to the ceiling, but to the side of your face, pinky leads the way, elevating the shoulder blade, upwardly rotating it, protracting it. So we're going through all the positions of the shoulder blade. And this time with your exhale, and you do that lat pull down bar, let that be the impetus to spill over onto your belly, on your bolster, on your belly. It's actually on the ribs, lower ribs. Stack your 2 hands under your forehead. So now there's this lift under your solar plexus. Your lower thorax is buoyed up by the bolster. Take some really deep breaths here and reach the lungs, the back of your lungs. They're lower than in the front. Reach the bottom of the back of your lungs towards your pelvis. And in my mind, it's like the way, like when you try to stick your fingers in your back pockets on jeans that are too tight, like reach your breath in there with that same sort of sliding, reaching, prying gently in. 3 breaths here. Using the feedback of the front ribs against the bolster to feel into the full floor of the lungs, the base of the lungs. So much more lung tissue at the bottom and in the back. Last breath here. then you can simply turn onto your right side. I'm gonna flip around so I'm not talking to the wall. So now right side rib cage, clearly on top of the support. Pelvis on the floor, head either on your right arm or on a support with your right arm in front of you, or head draped over the right shoulder, which is my preference. I get more release in my neck. And then the left arm's gonna reach opposite your head. So then we create a little tug through the musculature of the neck, top of the shoulder, which for me feels amazing. Thumb side is longer. Slice the arm back. Thumb tip leading the way. Feel the shoulder blades squeeze into the spine. Feel the armpit in front widen open. Feel the collarbone wrap back. Breathe, breathe, breathe. Sweeping the arm alongside your body. And as the arm starts to sweep in front of you, let the pinky be the longest reaching finger. Pause with your arm straight in front of you. Soften your heart backwards. Reach the arm more forwards. And then keep sweeping it overhead. Pinky finger leading the way. And if the arm goes all the way overhead, touching the floor might bring a little bit more space and brightness in the side lungs, side ribs. Don't hurt your shoulder. Don't do anything that hurts. In this context, in yoga asana. And then your lat pull down bar, just grab a piece of air from up there and pull it straight down. Squeeze the shoulder blade into the spine. Dive the elbow towards your waist, a little bit behind you. Straighten the arm. Grow your thumb longer. Reach back. Reach arm towards feet alongside of body. Pinky finger grows longer so you reach the arm way forward. Heart softens back. Arm goes overhead. Pinky is leading the charge. This side is where my magic happens, or where my biggest needs are. One more of these big arm, shoulder, breathy circles. Lat pull down, squeeze, shoulder blade into spine. Unfurl the elbow, thumb leads the charge to slice the arm back. It's called shoulder extension. And as you reach with all 5 fingers towards your own left ankle, sweeping the arm on the horizon, horizontally, towards the space in front of you. Soften your heart back, micro cat pose as you reach arm more forward. Pinky grows to be the longest finger, if only in your mind, probably only in your mind, and reach it overhead. Last time, pull that imaginary lat bar down, elbow towards your left kidney, straighten your arm, and then spill onto your belly. This time, keep the bolster under your front ribs again, but you could do elbows on the floor in front of it, So it's like a Sphinx pose. Or elbows and ribs up on it. So it's also like a Sphinx pose, but bigger. Simply being with, whether you enjoy it or not, a soft back bend. Something that's symmetrical. And we're going to take this one more stage. I'm going to add a little height to my bolster. So I'm going to fold my blanket over it, because now the bolster is going to go, we're going to be back on our left side, under the waist. So neither my hips really, nor my ribs are on the floor. My outer feet and my left arm, once again, using my arm as a pillow. You could put an actual pillow or a blanket under your arm, under your head rather, and have your arm in front of you. In fact, I'm gonna, again, like last time, have my arm in front of me, my head just on the floor. So it's like side-lying mountain pose, but support under your waist. Bend the top knee and hook that top leg, it's your right leg foot, hook it behind the left knee, and then let the knee drape. Now if it feels too intense tugging on the hip, put a block under your right knee, right? We're going to turn this into a little twist. So, not that little bit twist, it's going to be a big twist. So reach the left arm to the left, let it start to pull some of those ribs towards the left, so creating a rotation now on the ribs. Right arm, hand, I'm just resting it on my ribs here. And I'm going to breathe into the hand. So caressing with my right palm the curve, the super curvy part of the ribs, the side ribs. And right where the twist is starting to happen, where my side waist is pulled forward by the knee, and my right ribs are pulled backwards due to the reach of my left arm. So right hand is just caressing this place where the twist is most concentrated and most of the tug is happening. And I'm letting the palm of my right hand sort of call the cells of the side ribs, side belly, side waist. So a little cellular communication here between hand and torso, adding a little rock, a little wiggle, and breathing into the hand. And feeling from the inside where the breath doesn't quite get because of this twisted tension here. And letting the hand and the contact of hand with side body call the breath. Eventually, starting with that same soft elbow that we had a while ago, right arm sort of up and out, and then heavy the right shoulder blade. Please don't just flop the right arm to the floor, but can you dive the right shoulder blade back, elbow bends. So if something on the right arm, if something came to the floor, it would be the shoulder first, which probably is not going to happen. For me anyways, my support's too high, but I'm going to flirt with the idea of bringing the shoulder back to the floor. I'm just sort of suspending with support. I'm using my muscles in space. And then now, if you can, brain in your right foot and stretch the right leg long, maybe hover it above your left leg, or actually sweep it a little in front of your left leg. So it's the side-lying, spirally, twisty business that I love, with support under the waist. A couple of breaths more. I'm just going to look and see. Oh yeah, you can see almost everything. Can't really see my arm, but you'll see it on the other side. Actually, no, you won't. And then from here, you can come back the way you came by curling up onto your left side, or you can sweep the right arm overhead and spill onto your belly. For either like a draped, collapsed sphinx kind of thing here, forehead on hands, or actual sphinx. So I'm going to make it so my other side is visible for this next second side. So let's meet laying on our right side. The bolster is in the side waist. Bolster is in the side waist, so neither hips nor ribs are on the floor. Thread your right arm out in front of you and either support your head with a block or a blanket or just let it rest. Outer feet on the floor. Pause here. Left foot, tuck it behind that right knee and let the left knee drape towards the floor. If it doesn't meet the floor, if it feels like too much, put a block under your knee. And then start to feed the right arm over to the right, and that's bringing the twist into my ribs. Left hand, sort of like your own personal Reiki session. So that we could say about Reiki, but the contact, the conscious connection, contact of your own awake, alive hand with living cells, touching your own awake, alive side ribs, side waist, and let that contact generate some intelligence, some curiosity, some warmth. Breathe into the hand, breathe into where the hand is touching. Feel for the tightest, most tense lines of pull. And let the warmth from the hand, let the cellular communication between hand and torso call the breath. Yeah. You could just stay with that all day. I could. If you're ready, left arm goes up. And then this ability to slide the left shoulder blade like towards the spine and away from the spine and towards the spine and away from the spine. That's a helpful thing to have. Bend the elbow back and dive the shoulder back. So it would be easy to just let the arm fall and the knuckles hit the floor, and then I don't think that's great for the shoulder. So I'm inviting you to, if anything were to touch the floor, it would be the shoulder itself. And mine's not gonna, probably, but I'm diving it back there. And in that diving it back there, bringing more spread across the front ribs, top chest, collarbone, all the way down through like a diagonal tug through the belly. So yummy. yes, I say yes. Start to sweep that arm more towards the overhead. No, wait, don't do that. Don't do that. Float your left leg above the right, and then maybe sweep it a little bit forward. So now the diagonal, left arm, left leg forward a bit, left arm backward a bit, stretchy, reachy, spirally, reachy, twisty, yes. And then eventually let it pull you, reach you, pour you, turn you onto your belly. And then from here, I'm sliding back a bit. I got both supports under my front ribs. Pelvis is on the floor. So my torso is really supported in a baby back bend, so much that I can bring my hands up. I've got my toes tucked under, you cannot see them. Chaturanga feet. And here, let me move everything forward. And then, so you got a couple choices here. Hands, palms on the prop, gets the shoulders back. This could be pretty gentle. You could keep that and let the head go. This gives a lot of interesting feedback for my neck and upper back. I'm wobbling. I like the wobble. Or, you know, hands can interlace behind. I'm going to keep my hands interlaced behind and then use the reach of the knuckles to pull the head up. Still have my feet tucked under, and I'm using those toes to just keep it a little bit loose and fluid here. And then from head up, I'm going to roll back down. First tucking the chin deeply into the back of the throat. We did this in the Somatics class, like you could swallow your chin with your upper lip. And diving the forehead down. And use the reach of the knuckles, the arms behind you, to roll back up again. Head comes up last. One more of those. Like you could put your forehead in your nose, and then your upper lip over your chin. So really pull the tonsils back, molars back, throat back. And like you could dive your forehead under your heart. And then from here, roll back up. Bring your hands on the bolster. Exhale to hands and knees. Crawl your knees right under your hips. Child's pose with karate chop hands on the bolster. So I'm going slow, so real slow, folding in. You could pause with your arms on either side of your ears, and you could even grab a block and put it under your forehead here. I'm going to let my arms stay and take my head further down. My shoulders let me. Please don't do anything that hurts. Oh my. I'm rolling up, pausing, and appreciating. So grateful for the ability to go in and to have learned that that's an important thing. I'm so grateful to all my teachers and for all the teachings. Let's loose the bolster. Take a moment, unfold the blanket into fourths. Lay the blanket on your mat. Just a couple more soft and slidey stuff, then we'll do some stronger stuff. You could pause here and sayonara, I love you, or we'll keep going. Head, spine, hips, all on the blanket, arms straight out to the side. Knees can be bent or legs can be straight. I'm gonna take my legs straight. And take a peek either at me or at your own right hand. But I want you to externally rotate the right arm. So if your palm is facing the ceiling, you spin the arm towards the thumb. So the palm would be facing the same direction the top of your head is. And then you try to spin that palm flat to the floor. It probably won't get there. And notice the shoulder blades diving down the back. Keep the arm doing that, and then roll your head to look to the left. Oh. And so then it's a little bit of a standoff or a tug of war between right arm externally rotating and head, neck rotating to left. Now I'm going to use my left hand here. This is to grab my own neck, palming my own neck, and just like we did with the ribs and the breath, let the cellular consciousness in the palm of your left hand meet the cellular consciousness in the flesh and muscles of your right neck, and let them connect and talk to each other and call the blood, and let the blood call the breath. Keep all of this, but let's reverse the spiral of the right arm. You don't have to look at it unless you have to look at it, but in theory you're looking left. De-rotate the arm so the palm faces the ceiling again, but then keep turning it so that right palm, thumb side towards floor, so palm to the floor, and then keep rotating it. The pinky side lifts to the ceiling. So this is internal rotation. I'm just tugging around on the flesh of my neck with my left hand. And then let the right arm return to palm up. Unfurl your left arm out to the left. You're already looking left. And then watch your left hand go to external rotation. So if you start from left palm up and you turn the palm towards the thumb side, so the palm of your hand faces the direction your head is pointing, top of your head is pointing, and try to get that palm flat to the floor. And then turn your head away from it, so nose to the right side. And then the right hand can catch left side neck. Right hand and left side neck are like, oh, hello, I love you. Thank you for visiting. Let's bring the breath to the party. And these micro moments of my practice, it feels so true and so available. This body, this heart, mind, the only true refuge, no matter what's going on around. Excitement, fear, overwhelm, loneliness, whatever, I can come right in here and give to myself what I need to meet the moment. It's already here. I just have to stop and visit. Internally rotate left arm, so de-rotate that arm. Palm turns to face ceiling again. This is the left arm, that long arm out there. And then keep turning it so the palm goes flat to floor. And then maybe you try to make that thumb side of the hand heavier and lift the pinky side up. A couple more breaths here. Full body stretch, both arms up, both legs long. And then go for a little more length on the right side. And a little more length on the left side. Reach left arm, left leg. And the right side, back and forth. Left side long. Start to bend right elbow, right knee towards each other. They're along the floor, so they're out to the side. And then let that shortening right side call the left side to roll you over onto your right. Right side baby ball. Keep right side of you, right limbs curled up. Stretch left arm, left leg long again. And then let that pour you onto your back. Right side long. Left side bend. So left knee, left elbow out to the side. Let that curl you, pull you, roll that whole right side over onto your left. Stay curled up on your left side, but stretch the right arm, right leg long. And let it pour you onto your back, and as it does, left side goes long, right side goes short. Roll onto your left side. Baby ball, right side. Stay curled up on the right, but stretch the left side along. And let it pour you back. Right side goes long, left side goes short. Curl onto your left side, baby ball. And right side long. The left side long. I feel like a crazy person sometimes. I was talking to myself here, but I know you guys are there. Okay, pause on your right side. Pause here. Knees curled up. Take left arm to sky. And then as left arm goes to sky, feel for the right back ribs to roll onto the floor. And then look for your spine to roll onto the floor. So we're twisting now, but sequentially from right to left, and then left side ribs. So if the left shoulder blade does not get to the floor, don't just flop your arm out there, right? Hold your left arm in space until left shoulder blade can land. I vote we stretch left leg long, straight out to the right. So left arm left, left leg right. Stretchy, reachy, stretchy, reachy. Swing left arm overhead, left leg long below, and let that lay you back. Right side gets long, left side gets short. Baby ball, left side. And then right arm to sky. Keep turning so you feel for left back ribs on floor, spine on floor, right back ribs, maybe right shoulder blade. Arm can suspend in space as you stretch right leg long. So right leg's reaching left, across the body. Right arm's reaching right, twisty, reachy, breathy. And then this time when we swing right arm overhead and right leg long below, let this pour you onto your belly. And pause in any old way here. Okay. This could be another place where you're like, I'm good. Namaste. See you later. It's going to get stronger from here. Lose the blanket. Grab your 2 blocks. Both hands on blocks. Cat, cow with hands on blocks. So the cat, cow with hands on blocks makes for more activity in the upper spine. More access to movement in the upper back. I also get a lot more opening in the belly here. Take one of the blocks. Let's take the block in the left hand and slide it, place it underneath left knee. So then 2 blocks, one under right hand, one under left knee, and have all 4 feet on the floor here, and it's clearly offsetting, right? So we're gonna do both sides, and one side, whether it's right hand, left knee like we got now, or the other variation, which will be left hand, right knee, one's gonna feel better to you. And you might just check that out right now, because one side can be really medicinal and the other side can, depending on your curves, we all have some scoliosis, tiny bit or a lot, depending on what you got, one side's gonna be really helpful. I like both, so I'm gonna do both, but you might really favor one. So from here now, you do your best to balance the weight evenly on all 4 legs. It's hard. Cat, cow here. There's this tiny micro twist through the spine. The upper spine is being asked to rotate a little to the right. And the lower spine is being asked to rotate a little to the left. Now, where that rotation is most pronounced, I think we can choose. So you don't have to feel it tugging on just 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 vertebrae. See if you can make it so there's a little bit of movement in a lot of places. Not a little bit of movement, or not a lot of movement in one place. Next cat pose. Push down with the 2 block limbs, so the 2 floor limbs float block height. So I'm cat posing, and 2 limbs are suspended. Stretch those 2 limbs long. Arm forward, leg back. Pause. It's a little edgier than just being on the floor for some reason. And when you return the free hand, put it on the floor ahead of the level of the block. And then hand that's on the block comes to floor. All 4 limbs on floor, down dog. Just to cleanse the palate. Stay as long as you need to for the residue of that very asymmetrical movement to sort of dissipate. You digest it. And then when you're ready, switch the placement of the blocks. So it'll be the other hand and the other knee on the blocks. So you have 2 floor limbs. The 2 limbs that are on the floor now were the ones on the blocks before. Cat, cow. This is my more important side. How's it going out there? Push down with the, next time you're in cat pose, push down with the block limbs and float the floor limbs to block height. And stretch the floater limbs long, right? The arm is forward and the leg is back. And we'll meet in down dog, block free. So as we go into some standing poses now, I'm going to continue to make the focus the neck and shoulders. So find your way to a forward bend. So you can either walk hands back or feet forward. I'm bringing hands and feet towards each other so I'm easier to see in the middle. And give yourself a moment here to dangle, whether you alternate knee bends or keep both knees bent or both legs straight or all of the above in random order. And I said to put your blocks aside, but catch one of them. Catch one of them. And put it between your 2 knees on its flat side. Flat side between your 2 knees. And have the feet just wide enough apart that you can easily hug the block with those knees. And let's stay in our forward bend here. If you need your other block for your hands, do that. But if you can, get palms flat to floor, like have them on either side of your feet. So it's hand, foot, some space between your feet, then the other foot, and then the other hand all in a row. And try to lift the block with your inner knees. Try to push the floor down with your hands. And back of head towards toe tips. So you're almost like a wheel rolling, but freeze frame. Any more weight forward you would go for, you would fall, you would roll like a wheel. Don't do that, but flirt with the idea. Keep the block. Keep the squeeze. Bend your knees. A lot. Almost as low. So hips are almost as low as the knees. And then cat pose your spine. Maybe touch your forehead to that block. Reach the arms forward and come rolling up through the spine. Keep the hips low. Utkatasana. Most of the weight in the heels. Hollow the belly. And now it's like you're risking falling backwards. Rolling backwards like a wheel. One more, 2 more breaths. Slowly, slowly come to stand up. Like slow motion. And once you get to here, once you get to straight legs, so much reaching. So much reaching. What are you reaching for? Oh, I don't know. Inner freedom. Going up so much, the reach pulls you up. So it might be tiptoes, but not because you lifted up onto your tiptoes, because you reach so much through your fingers. And then down we go. Lose the block, catch your belt. Make your belt loop so that if we were to invoke our inner Arjuna, the archer from the Bhagavad Gita, that you could have the belt across your thumb, like mitten hand, right, in the thumb crease. And then the other side of the belt, it's a little long, pulled back, taut, like bow and arrow. Like bow and arrow. Okay. Mary Pat Paul, Cindy Cook, oh my goodness, Fabiana, hello everyone. So this is how long we want our belt to be. Like Cupid, okay? Wide-legged. Externally rotate right leg. Turn left leg in a bit. Classic side lateral post stance. Let's soften into the right knee, so Vera 2 legs. Get clear about your setup, no big deal. And then bow and arrow. Right hand is the arrow tip. Left hand is pulling the bowstring. And then use this to open the chest. And then what if our target was straight ahead? Make it about the lengthening of the right side, the reach of the right side. Yum. When you're ready, side 2. I am ready. Left leg turns out, right leg turns in. Bend into that left knee. And you know, left sit bone is going with the foot and the knee. So left sit bone is like scooping forward into the left. Bow and arrow. Left hand is the arrow tip. Right hand is the bowstring. Pulling, get your aim, open the chest. Feel the spread across the front, and then follow your target up, straight up. So right hand's pulling down, left arm's reaching against it. And then up you come. Take the loop, it's in both your thumbs, up and behind your head, and like behind you like you would towel in the coming out of the shower. And then can you keep it, I don't want that on me. Keep it behind you with the upper arms. Actually, if you could slide it more towards your elbows, that's ideal. Maybe your loop is long enough that you can put your hands on your hips. So I'll start over. Loop from thumb to thumb. Up and over your head, catching close to the elbows. And you gotta squeeze the shoulders back. Elbows get lassoed back, hands on hips. If your belt loop is too short, you can lengthen it or just do hands on hips. Wide-legged again. Elbows are pulled back by the belt. Soften your two knees and turn your left toes towards your right toes. Wow, look at the time. And then left hip towards right toes. And then right toes towards the end of your mat. So basically, Parsvottanasana stance, pyramid stance. Left hip turns towards right toes. And let's just make it about this. Squeezing the two inner thighs, turning the left hip towards the right toes. Drop your tail. The elbows are already pulled back. And then reach your collarbones up. Reach your chest up. Reach your face up. Reach your chin up and your bottom lip up. And then undo and rotate the other way. So it's pyramid stance, Parsvottanasana stance. Get really clear about that right hip wrapping forward. Elbows are trapped in the belt behind you. And then standing clearly on the right heel, getting a lot of lift under your collarbones, under your back of your skull, behind the bridge of your nose as you go up. And then try to touch your bottom lip to your nose. Come on out. Back to the front. Bring your belt around. Woo. Step or hop, feet right together. Catch your belt, that loop, shoulder width distance. Arms up, Utkatasana. Try to rip the belt apart. Pull it apart. And then come to stand. Legs go wide. Turn right leg out, left leg in. Bow and arrow. Right hand is the arrow tip. Bend the right knee. And then make the target the space between your big and second toe. And then pull with that left elbow, pull with that left shoulder, pull away from it. Side angle, bow and arrow style. Now what if suddenly our target was above us? Can you switch the elbows? Left elbow straightens, right elbow bends. Look up. Reach up with the left, pull with the right, big breath in and out. Inhale, come up, turn the legs, bend left knee, aim for between big and second toe, left side. Right shoulder, right elbow, pulling back, pulling back. And the target switches on us. So you look straight ahead. You unbend right elbow, bend the left. If you can, look straight up. Pull with left elbow, reach with right arm. Up you come. All 10 toes straight ahead. Let's lose the belt for the moment. However you need to motor out here. You could stand in mountain. You could fold forward. You could do your two dogs. And from here, with hands on hips, feet wide apart. Actually, let's catch the belts again. You don't have to, I'm gonna. Let's come back to the pyramid stance. I'm gonna face the other way so you can see me. So you're facing your right leg, Parsvottanasana stance, but we're going to turn it into revolved triangle. So what I vote is you just casually have your belt in your hands, and with your hands on your hips, you might preset a block. Come on, forward and down. If you need blocks, use them. Forward and down. I got the belt in my hands, just bringing it along with me. So find Parsvottanasana first. Parsvottanasana. Side front bend. Right sit bone, that's the front leg sit bone, it's trying to aim towards your right big toe. Same with your left sit bone towards its own left foot. Sit bones go with the feet. And then can you keep the belt in your left hand? Put that left hand on the block or the floor. So left hand is like the arrow tip, even though the palm is flat. I just got it tucked under my thumb. And then the right arm is the bowstring. Pull, pull, pull. So right elbow to sky, right elbow to sky. And you're pulling back that whole right side chest. You could stay here. It's quite effective, I think. If it's going well and you're feeling the trajectory of the turning of the torso, then simply let go of the belt with the right hand and take that right arm to the sky. And you could either follow with your gaze or look straight out to the side. 1 or 2 breaths. I'm going to all 4 feet, going to my down dog. Yum, yum. Just a few more things and we're going to wrap up here. Come back up to standing. Let's do the other side. So have your belt casually with you, or you could have it on the floor in front of you ready to grab. Left foot forward, right foot back. The right leg has some turnout, right? But the hips are facing your left foot, facing the front of your mat. Your legs are adducted. Scissor those inner thighs. Come forward with your whole torso. Use blocks if the floor feels far away, if your back is super roundy, if your knees have to bend, just bring the floor up with blocks. Let's stay in our forward bend for a moment. Ideally, the distance between your 2 feet is about the length of one of your own legs. So it's like an equilateral triangle in that respect. Again, the thighs ideally are quite active. Legs are straight, so they need to be strong. And then if you're going for the twist, block or something under your right hand if you need it. And I've just got the thumb over the belt. So right hand is the arrow tip, and then gather the belt back with that left hand and roll the left shoulder back and plunge the right hand into the floor. You could stay here or let the setup inform the trajectory. You let go with your left hand and the left arm goes up. And twist and twist. I'm doing all 4 feet on the floor, down dog. And now the wall's gonna come in handy here. So if your feet are not towards the wall, turn yourself around. I'm gonna take my mat right to the wall. Left leg up the wall. So how close you are to the wall, of course, dictates how much challenge there is for the legs. So let's use this moment, pseudo handstand prep. So all the down dog, working the arms, keep your shoulder blades broad, keep the reach through the arms, And then we're including length in the front of the upper leg here, left leg for me, and the back of the down leg. I like to bend the lower leg and get a lot of distance between the two knees. And I'm switching. Right leg is up. Taking time to soften left knee, come onto the ball mounds. When you're ready, come rolling on up. Both feet on the floor, come rolling on up. Come back to your pyramid stance, but with the right foot forward, but have the outer edge of your left heel against the wall. So again, the two heels are in a line. We're just in this stance, but we're backed up to the wall. Turn the left hip forward. And then with hands down beside you, palms facing backwards, touch the wall behind you with both hands, or try. And so there's a few ways we could do this. We could really round forward and dunk the head and try to touch the wall. That's missing the mark, right? Can you keep your chest up? Can you keep your spine in neutral? You're going to have to retract the shoulder blades. That means pull them back and then dive the shoulder blades down the back. And then see if your fingertips can find the wall without distorting the head or the neck, without dumping the head forward or hollowing the heart back. It's not easy, actually. It's quite tough. Whoo-wee, let's do the other side. So I'm simply stepping forward, back foot forward. That was the left foot coming forward, and then I'm stepping my right foot back. Scissor the inner thighs, turn the right hip towards the left toes, chest up, navel up, tonsils up, and then arms back. Stepping back foot forward. Catch your belt. Ideally the same loop is there. Can you just drape it over your shoulders so it's available, but we're not holding on to it. Left leg back, same deal. Outer edge of the left heel against the wall, left toes turned out, scissor the inner thighs on the midline. Start once again with fingers back. And then, as if you could keep touching the wall, as if, bend the right knee. Virabhadrasana 1, Warrior 1. Shoulder extension, as if you could still touch the wall. And then sweep the arms down and catch your belt. Keep the belt, the two halves of the belt loop. So I've got the belt loop behind my head. Thumbs in the sides of the loops. And then bring your hands together in front of you and cradle your head in the loops. Virabhadrasana 1, head back, supported. Swallow. 1 or 2 breaths. And then you can dismount however you want. I'm going to do both dogs. First time all morning. So from plank, you could just come to stand if you want, or just bend forward into a forward bend, or do both dogs. You're going to want to grab your belt on the way up. Outer edge of the right heel, back of the right heel on the wall. Have your belt loop draped over your shoulders on the ready. And let's start right hip turned forward. I'm better organizing my back leg and getting a hair out of my mouth. And then fingertips to the wall. Chest up, throat soft. As if your fingers could keep touching, bend right knee, Virabhadrasana 1. Still with shoulder extension. Get your lower realms in order here before you grab the belt loop with your 2 thumbs. Hold the belt as you cradle the back of the head with both sides of that loop. Whoa, falling over. And then neutralize as you wish. You could come to stand, you could bend, bow forward, you could cat-cow, you could double dog. Pausing. I'm going to go into inversion practice here, starting with handstand. If you are not going upside down, or you don't know how, not a handstander, here's what I recommend instead. I recommend you plug your feet into the wall, and you have a loop just big enough to catch the foot and the tail of the belt. So right leg is up, tail of the belt, you sort of thread through your hands in a way that I could sort of slide the belt through but hold on to it. And you take arms all the way overhead, bringing the right leg with you as far as it can go. And so in lieu of handstand, this is good work in my opinion. So you do the right leg, and then you do the left leg. Okay? Otherwise, handstanders, stand on your hands. About 4 inches off the wall with your fingers, you get a dog. The gaze has got to be forward, the heart's got to really present forward, but you're pushing the floor away. Start with one leg up, and that leg stays straight like an extension of your spine. And then you spring up, you go for the ceiling. If you miss the ceiling, the wall will catch you. And I vote, I'm using the wall today just for some sustainability. I'm gonna let my head go, so I'm gonna let it dangle here. And then just enjoy being upside down with the power of my own strength. Just enjoying the capacity to have a different perspective, supported by my own strength determination and choice making to do so. How metaphorical can that be? When you come out, do whatever you want. One of my favorite things is to turn the palms up. My hands are in between my feet, fingers pointing back, but then spin the fingers out to the side, and I step on the heels of my hands and I come into a squat. So next is forearm stand, or for those of you not inverting, you could repeat that same thing I showed, or you do forearm dog, elbow dog I call it. You could repeat handstand, you could go back and do anything we've done. You could also rest and be done. So for my forearm stand, I'm going to come off the wall because I want more, oh goodness, lay down in your bed. And he's got a scratch. Go lay down. Can you go lay down? I want more of a hip extension for my legs, so I'm going to use the wall to turn it into like a one-legged back bend. Do you have a scratch you can't itch? You got a scratch you can't itch? So I'm just giving the dog an assist here. And you gotta lay down. Please lay down. Okay, lay down. Go lay down. No? Okay, go lay down. So I'm going to work my forearm dog in a pseudo splits. I'm a little close to the wall, or my forearm stand rather. So I'm just working my two legs apart. And because it's an asymmetrical thing, I'm going to switch legs. You might have to come down to switch, maybe not. From here, either bridge pose or hero's pose, I'm going into hero's pose. So you can sit between your heels. You might just sit and chill. Bridge pose will be easier on the knees, of course. You'd have to lay back first, then send your hips up. But if hero's pose is in your movement vocabulary, use whatever support you need. You can put a blanket under your hips. You can build props up under your upper back and head. I'm going to take about a minute here. So if you need the time to build a little throne for yourself, take that time. Bridge pose might be a simpler option. And I'd like to finish this whole thing in shoulder stand. So, in a minute. You could catch opposite elbows here and take arms overhead. Those of you who are fully supported either by the floor or by props. Okay. Suppose we should get to it, huh? I could stay here all day. So, taking your time when you're ready to slowly come out of your back bend of whatever sort, whether it was bridge pose or the supine heroes pose. I'm taking my time because I love it so much. And then I want to do shoulder stand in a certain kind of way today. You're welcome to do it however you want. Catch your bolster. And if you have one edge of the bolster at the halfway mark on your mat, and then the shorter side of your mat, flip it over your bolster. So I've got the shorter side of the mat flipped over my bolster. That's the side that's towards the wall. So bolster sort of rolled in the mat with about half the mat away from the wall. Then I'm going to take the 2 blocks and the blanket and build a little platform. The 2 blocks end to end, long blocks, short end to short end, making a T with the bolster. Can you guys see that? Yeah, I think you can. Then take your blanket and a long rectangle. So I've got it folded from, folded in fourths. I fold it in half widthwise and then in half again, get a long rectangle, and that can go right over the blocks. So you've got this little on-ramp. I think you guys should watch me get in first. You could just chill here. It's a little neck curve support, head's tipped back, legs are up. This is my entry. There's 2 ways to get in. This one in theory is easier. So shoulders are not at the very edge, but there's a couple inches here from the tops of my shoulders to the edge. And my neck is like in the full curve of the side of the bolster. Then using the feet against the wall and the hands on the floor, it's going to come to plow pose. And then you can catch the sides of the mat and walk the shoulders up on the bolster. That was the whole point of having the mat out there. And release your hands behind you. If you can get skin, I vote for that. And you can either do hands on your back, or you can keep your hands sort of tugging on the mat out in front of you. Either way, and the wall is right there. The wall is right there. Enjoy. Let's say a few minutes maybe, huh? If it proves to be too much, come on out. Simply do legs up the wall. Simply come to rest. Those of you with some chops can do some variations. You could have both feet on the wall here and make it less of a direct inversion and more of a steep incline. One more minute. And my exit strategy is going to be feet to the wall. Slowly lower my torso down on the support. You can cross your shins, and like my knees are just landing in the wall, and my shins, cross shins, are sort of riding the blanket block support. I'm just pausing here, throat soft. Arms overhead in an O shape. And once I feel everything sort of settle down, I'm going to slide headward, scooch headward. Go towards your head. So then your shoulders are on the ground. Pelvis is on the bolster. Once again, you could cross your shins over the blanket block on-ramp and just rest in a soft Sukhasana. In fact, I'm going to stay here. You could keep sliding headward till your hips are off the bolster and then the backs of your knees have draped over it. I'll probably get there eventually. If you've landed with this crossed legs, probably switch which leg is in front. And if you haven't yet, slither all the way so pelvis is off, just knees, just legs are on in your Shavasana. You guys stay there. Feel how the breath can settle. Feel how the mind can settle. And if it's not settling, then feel that. Feel the fact that, oh, things are not settling. And being curious about your deeper being, your capacity to witness what is up without it upsetting you. Cultivating the capacity to allow the phenomena of life to swirl about and not let it drag you along with it. Please keep resting. Please keep trusting. Everything's going to be okay. Please keep loving each other. May the roots of love and compassion only deepen. And may the roots of confusion and delusion only wither. Om Shanti. All my love. Bye-bye.